I just created a data analysis agent using LangChain and Chainlit UI. Let me show you exactly what I created. And in the very next few videos, I'm also going to share the code in a public open source repository. So this is the interface, the UI, where you can interact with the agent. So let me show you the process. It begins by selecting whether you're a domain expert or an ML expert. So it changes the agent's behavior. So the first thing is that it says another ML agent can help you load data, visualize data, train models. So let's say that you start with the load data, you chat this into the UI, and you can select one of the two data sets. Then it summarizes the data quickly and asks you what you want to create after that. So I say train a model with the target column. So it shows us a little bit of stuff about the target because I didn't specify to, train a model. So I say train a model. It uses an AutoML library that was made by Microsoft. It's called FAML or something like that. And then it asks you whether you want sub values or whatever. So we say sub values, and yeah, it does the training, and at the same time it outputs stuff, and finally it can create a full report for you to see. So this was an agent that I created quite fastly using AI. You can see here everything was created by Google's Anti. Of course, I have a knowledge about creating agents, so I could direct the agent to create exactly what I want. So the idea here is that there are two main files. The first one is the agent tools, and the second one is the API.py. So this is the central file where we import our API key, initiate our agent, and just use a very simple model, which is Gemini 2.5 Plus. I use zero temperature. Maybe I could, change that in the future, but doesn't matter right now. And here we load a different list of tools. So we have the load dataset, load local CSV, so you can attach your own dataset, but we already have two pre-made ones. Run AutoML that runs the training loop, generate plot, Python analysis to query the data frame and give you specific options. Get feature importance. So this is to see the model internals from the AutoML, sub values, which are for explainability, generate report that generates a report, and export to API and generate training script. So these two are used to spin up a server where you can ask your model on new data. This is for training scripts and this is for analyzing images, but these are not yet implemented quite correctly. So as you can see here, we have two different system prompts according to whether you are an ML expert or you are just a domain expert. So the agent acts differently. And these are very simple prompts that were created by AI, but you can see how you can change the profile pretty easily. So you can change the behavior of the AI. And here we have the create React agent. So we use LangChain for that. We use the pre-made React agent that plans and then acts on the prompt. We also have some user sessions and history. This allows us to keep some state, and yeah. So the system prompt is one of the things we keep in memory, and also we have the agent executor. So everything begins with a message about the AutoML expert. So this is the first message the user sees. And yeah, everything pretty much after that is loading data. If you've got images, it loads them through a path. And this is pretty much the process. It's as simple as that. It's not very complicated. And this is the main loop. Now about tools, we could go into it and show you a little bit more stuff. But before we do so, I want to show you the report. So I also would like to hear from you what you would like to see in the next few videos. What would you like me to create on this? So this is the AutoML analysis report. It shows the data overview, very, very simple about what columns we've got. This is not perfect. Model performance. So this is the model that was trained, its loss and training time. This is a visualization, a histogram of the target variable, which let's say I requested. This is the importances, so that's what's important on the model, and this is a summary of the sub values. Now, how to interpret this? Fuck me, I have no idea. So about the tools, we have two pre-made datasets, so the model can load them through scikit-learn, if I'm not correct. We have also this local CSV thing, and we have this generate plot. It can generate multiple plots. So we have histogram, scatter plot that takes two values, two inputs essentially. So it has X and y, and y is optional. X is the main variable, and if you want two variables, for example, for scatter plots, it makes sure to take both of these, and you can generate a lot of other stuff. It saves the PNG and also responds the path of the PNG. It brings it back to the user. So this is for the Python analysis. So this can execute Python code. I want to find specific thing for specific variables, like for example, get the mean of the variable we try to predict, which is the target. So this takes some code as input, which is interesting. This is the run.ml. So here is where the training thing happens. We use a simple AutoML to do our process. We import FlyML, which is a Microsoft AutoML tool to do everything. And this is the settings. So we can say to the LLM, we want to train for 10 seconds, 1 minute, whatever. We can set the metric or it's automatically selected. And there are a lot of other stuff. So the response from that is the ML model, the best hyperparameters. You can see exactly here how to respond. It's just a string that we give back to the chat model. This is the feature importance, which is taken from the training model. So that's also very easy to do. Again, the training model and the dataset lives inside the history tab and the user session. So it's very easily accessible. This could also be saved to the disk, to the hard drive, but right now we do it like that. And again, for the sub values, we get the object, the data frame, and we pass everything into the sub library. So we use .explainer to get the sub values. We create a summary plot, we save it on disk, and we respond with the image on the path. Finally, the report is really simple. It takes the responses from the data frame, takes the responses from the AutoML object that we have on memory. Right now it notes the specific plots that we have generated. So it adds all of these 3 plots. If they exist, if they don't exist, they just keep them, and creates this report PDF, which you can download on your computer, share with a client, or do whatever you want. Also, what I'm working on right now is writing an API code that spins up a small server with the model you trained, so you can ask it, query it, and do all sorts of things with it with just a simple /predict on your browser. And similarly, we generate a training script where you can replicate exactly what we've done. This is again not fully worked because, as you can see here, it doesn't take the input from what we have done. So it needs a lot of state management. It takes some part of the input, but really not everything at the moment. So we have a little bit more work to do on that. Finally, we're working also on an image analyzer that uses a Gemini model to analyze an image and give us an understanding. This could be very, very powerful, but again, needs a lot more work. I really don't like the solution. But again, everything was created using anti-gravity, which is very powerful. It took about 20 to 30 minutes to do everything. But I gotta say, for such a new tool and doing everything automatically, I gotta say this is pretty amazing. So if you want a more in-depth tutorial about how I created this agent, how you can do it yourself, or new features you would like me to add, let me know down below in the comments.